Dr. Ferdinand's has been running for about 3 years now. Since opening the doors, I've probably restored about full restorations, probably about 8 to 9 vehicles, but we also do modifications, lowering engines, pretty much any part of the car. The Blue Oval was a project with me and my dad, my first kind of foray into restoration. That car was my daily ride for probably 15 years. The thought of even selling that car, I would never let it go really, because you can't replace that kind of sentiment, you know. It sparked my interest for restoration, that you can take something from one form and transform it into another. The name Dr. Ferdinand's came from Dr. Ferdinand Porsche, who's the designer of the VW Beetle and obviously Porsches. I think even before I had a business, I dreamt of owning a business and running a bit of a restoration company, and thought of names, and that name just seemed to pop in there and fit. I've always been quite practical with things, you know, even with models I used to have as a child. I used to take apart and change the colour of them or change the wheels on them and kind of make them look, you know, how I wanted them to look. So I guess that's kind of evolved into what I do now. I think my skills in the practical sense have probably come from watching my dad. He's always had a classic car in the garage when I was growing up, and I'd always go and, you know, watch him, see what he was doing, and maybe the seeds were subconsciously sown then. An example of the kind of work that I like to do is probably the bus behind me here. This area on the front is going to be cleaned up and to see how the extent of the rust problem on it. Obviously it has got a few issues. I would keep all of this patina on here, this texture and everything like that, because it just shows the history of the vehicle. It's very original, mainly original paint. I've repaired the areas that obviously needed addressing with new metal, new panels, but the outside is pretty much going to be left as found. So it's actually a lot more involved than doing a total restoration, to be honest. It's more of a preservation than a restoration. You can just repair the areas that need repairing. You know, obviously if there's holes, then you would cut the rust out and let new metal in. But if the paint's good in places, and you know, you leave all that character. There isn't a set timescale for any project, really, because you don't know what you're getting into until you're actually in it. A car can come in for a simple welding patch or, you know, simple repair and turn into a whole restoration. I wouldn't say I have an average project. Every project is different, you know, whether it be a stock restoration or customization. They kind of evolve even as they're being worked on. The customer will come to me with an idea of what they want, and that will evolve as we go along. I would like to push Dr. Ferdinand's not only as a restoration company but also as a brand, and just focus on more restorations to original kind of spec, keeping the originality of the vehicle.